Hey everybody! Well, welcome to my latest video here on YouTube. Today is Father's Day, and I think it's apropos that I'm doing this video on Father's Day because this is a golf video that I'm making about my favorite golfer, Phil Mickelson. And it was my dad who first introduced me to golf back when I was about 12 years old, I think. And a few years after that is when I discovered Phil Mickelson, and I think what it was, well, I started off, and of course I still am, a left-handed golfer, and back then, there weren't very many left-handed golfers on the PGA Tour, as far as like people to follow watching golf for left-handers like me. So it was kind of a in-between time where guys like Bob Charles were old and past their prime and on the senior tour, and other guys like Sam Adams was a left-hander who played on the tour in the 70s, and he was finished by then. And Ernie Gonzalez won a tournament in the mid-80s, but he was pretty well off the tour then too in the early 90s. And we hadn't yet seen Mike Weir and some of the guys who came along later, Steve Flesh, Bubba Watson, guys like that. So I was pretty excited when back in January of 1991 I discovered Phil Mickelson, because of course I hadn't followed him during his college career. Didn't follow college golf at all, and still don't to this day. Have no idea who the great college golfers are of the day, but Phil Mickelson became my guy. So here I am doing a video about him, my favorite all-time golfer. Philip Alfred Mickelson, that's his full name. He was born on June 16th, 1970, so he is now 56 years old. This is, 5 days late that I'm doing this video, but I actually had the script finished last night, but it was too late to do the video, so now here I am doing the video today. Mickelson was born in San Diego, California. He is an American professional golfer who currently plays on the Live Golf League. He has won 45 events on the PGA Tour, including 6 major championships, 3 Masters titles, 2004, 2006, and 2010, 2 PGA championships, 2005 and 2021, and 1 Open championship, otherwise known as the British Open, 2013. With his win at the 2021 PGA Championship, Mickelson became the oldest major championship winner in history, at the age of 50 years, 11 months, and 7 days. He's not quite the oldest PGA Tour winner in history. That was Sam Snead, who was about 52 when he won his last tournament. Phil Mickelson is nicknamed Lefty, as he plays left-handed. Mickelson is one of 17 players in the history of golf to win at least 3 of the 4 majors. He has won every major except the US Open, in which he has finished runner-up a record 6 times. In 2022, Mickelson became the only golfer who has won 3 majors to join the Saudi-backed Live Golf Tour, leaving his PGA Tour membership of 30 years. Mickelson has spent more than 25 consecutive years in the top 50 of the official World Golf Ranking. He has spent over 700 weeks in the top 10, has reached a career-high world ranking of number 2 several times, and is a life member of the PGA Tour. I think he became a life member when he won his 40th tournament. Although naturally right-handed, he is known for his left-handed swing, having learned it by mirroring his right-handed father's swing. He was inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame in 2012. Mickelson is 6 feet 3 inches tall and weighs 201 pounds. He has been married to Amy McBride since 1996, and they have 3 children. His father, Philip Mickelson Sr., was an airline pilot and former naval aviator, and his mother was named Mary Santos. He was raised in San Diego and in Scottsdale, Arizona. Mickelson has Portuguese, Swedish, and Sicilian ancestry. His maternal grandfather, Alfred Santos, also Mickelson's middle name, was a caddy at Pebble Beach Golf Links and took Phil to play golf as a child. Mickelson began golf under his father's instruction before starting school. His father's work schedule as a commercial pilot allowed them to play together several times a week, and young Phil honed his creative short game on an extensive practice area in their San Diego backyard. Mickelson graduated from the University of San Diego High School in 1988. Mickelson attended Arizona State University in Tempe on a golf scholarship and became the face of amateur golf in the United States. He captured 3 NCAA and individual championships and 3 Haskins Awards, 1990, 1991, and 1992, as the outstanding collegiate golfer. With 3 individual NCAA championships, he shares the record for most individual NCAA championships alongside Ben Crenshaw, who did his at the University of Texas back in the early 70s. Mickelson also led the Sun Devils to the NCAA team title in 1990. Over the course of his collegiate career, he won 16 tournaments. Mickelson was the second collegiate golfer to earn first-team All-American honors all 4 years. In 1990, he also became the first with a left-handed swing to win the U.S. Amateur title, defeating high school teammate Manny Zerman 5-4 in the 36-hole final at Cherry Hills, south of Denver. Mickelson secured perhaps his greatest achievement as an amateur in January 1991, winning his first PGA Tour event, the Northern Telecom Open in Tucson, making him one of the few golfers to win a PGA Tour event as an amateur in the history of the PGA Tour. And I was able to find just a 3-minute video of Phil Mickelson at the Northern Telecom Open when he won his first tournament. So I'm not sure if it's still playing back there, but I don't think so. I think it's already finished. I couldn't find a full video of the final round or something like that I was looking for, but at age 20, Mickelson was only the 6th amateur to win a tour event, and the first in over 5 years after Scott Verplank at the Western Open in August 1985. Other players to accomplish this feat include Doug Sanders, 1956 Canadian Open, and Gene Littler, 1954 San Diego Open. With 5 holes remaining, Mickelson led by a stroke, but made a triple bogey and was then 3 strokes behind. The leaders ahead of him then stumbled, and he birdied 16 and 18 to win by a stroke. It was the most recent win by an amateur at a PGA Tour event until 2024, at the American Express, with Nick Dunlap taking the title. Mickelson turned professional in 1992 after graduating from Arizona State in June. He has 57 professional wins, 45 on the PGA Tour, 8th all-time, 11 on the European Tour, 1 on the Challenge Tour, 4 on the PGA Tour Champions, and 4 on other tours. It doesn't exactly add up to 57, but that's the best I could do. He reached the number 2 world ranking for the first time on the week of February 11th, 2001. He finished 2nd or tied for 2nd in the U.S. Open in 1999, 2002, 2004, 2006, 2009, and 2013. The one of those that I remember most is 2006, when he collapsed on the final hole at Winged Foot. Needing a par on the 18th for a one-shot victory, Mickelson played aggressively, as was his style, and chose to hit a driver off the tee. He hit his shot well left of the fairway. The ball bounced off a corporate hospitality tent and settled in an area of trampled down grass that was enclosed with trees. He decided to go for the green with his second shot rather than play it safe and pitch out into the fairway. His ball then hit a tree and did not advance more than 50 yards. His next shot plugged into the left greenside bunker. He was unable to get up and down from there, resulting in a double bogey and costing him a chance of winning the championship outright or getting into an 18-hole playoff with champion Jeff Ogilvy. I remember in an interview after his disappointing finish, he said candidly, quote, "I just can't believe I did that. I'm such an idiot." I've seen all 45 of Mickelson's PGA Tour victories on TV, and it all started back on Thursday, January 10th, 1991. Excuse me, the first round of the Northern Telecom Open at TPC at Star Pass in Tucson National Golf Club. Mickelson teed off at Star Pass on the first tee at 10:39 a.m. with Barry Cheeseman and Brad Bell. To give a bit of local flavor, this is how the local Tucson newspaper, the Arizona Daily Star, reported on the first round in its Friday, January 11th, 1991 issue by Tom Faust under the headline, "Ruling Leaves Two-Way Tie at Telecom. Sutton has a parent eagle turned into birdie. Decision 16-3 from a thick volume that defines the rules of golf is all that stood between Hal Sutton and the sole leadership in the first round of the $1 million Northern Telecom Open yesterday. The rule turned what Sutton thought should have been an eagle into a birdie on his last hole at Tucson National Golf and Conference Resort, and the 8 under par round of 64 tied him with Bob Tway. Tway, shooting an eagle on number 11 and making birdies on the last 3 holes, recorded his 64 at TPC Star Pass. A stroke back with a 65 at Star Pass was left-hander Phil Mickelson, the current USGA amateur champion and 2-time NCAA champ from Arizona State University. There were 5 players at 66, 5 more at 67, and 11 at 68, including former University of Arizona golfer Larry Silveira, who was the best of 13 locals in the field. Defending champion Robert Gamez, a UA alumnus, was 6 shots off the pace after a 2 under par 70 at Tucson National. The second round gets underway at 9:45 a.m. today with the split field switching courses. After today's play, the 156-player field will be trimmed to the low 72 and ties for the final 36 holes tomorrow and Sunday at Star Pass. The situation that Sutton, a former PGA champion, found himself in on the 9th green at Tucson National wasn't a first, or Section 16-3, and decisions on the rules of golf wouldn't exist. But no one could say they ever saw it happen. His 166-yard 6-iron approach to the 9th green was embedded in the front lip of the cup. More than half of the ball was in the hole, but the rule states that the entire ball must be below the lip. After calling for a ruling, Sutton marked the ball and the hole was repaired. Twice he attempted to replace it, and twice it fell into the hole. According to the rule, he had to place it a half inch, the closest point, away and tap it in. Quote, "It should be in the history book," Sutton said. "I've been playing golf for 22 years and I've never seen anything like it." Wade Cagle, a PGA Tournament supervisor for 25 years, said he has seen similar situations, but not to that degree. It was Cagle who made the ruling. "I don't know why the ball didn't fall in," he said. Sutton said he understood the ruling, but it was obvious he thought he should have been given the deuce on the 440-yard par 4 hole, one of the toughest at National. "The rules are inconsistent," he said. "If I mark my ball on the green and it rolls off the green in the process of replacing it, I have to play it from where it stops. I don't blame Wade or anyone else. I just feel the rule is inconsistent." But Sutton, who has struggled in 2 of his last 3 seasons, was satisfied with the round. "I played real well," he said. "I drove well, hit the irons, and putted well. I was aggressive when I needed to be, conservative when I needed to be, and I played with confidence." Starting on the back 9, he birdied numbers 11, 14, and 17 with putts of 3 inches to 8 feet. A 30-foot birdie putt on number 2 started a string of 3 birdies in a row. And he 2-putted from the front edge of the green on the par 5 8th hole for a birdie before the bizarre finish that gave him a 31 on the front 9. Sutton, 32, has won 7 tournaments since turning pro in 1982 and was the PGA's leading money winner in 1983. He hasn't won since 1986. He slipped to 88th on the money list in 88, finished 23rd in 89, and dropped to 75th last year. "I've done some reevaluation and I've spent more time practicing to get my game back to what I know it should be," he said. "I worked harder during the off-season. I'm hitting the ball well, thinking well, and I'm looking forward to playing. I've been working on my tempo and timing. Everyone thinks that putting has been my problem, but that's not it. I'm not the greatest putter, but I fell way down in the greens and regulation statistics. I let my mind control me, kind of like the tail wagging the dog instead of the dog wagging the tail." Tway, 32, was a 3-time All-American at Oklahoma State University between 1979 and 1981. He was named Collegiate Golf's Most Outstanding Player in 81. His 6 career victories include the 1986 PGA Championship and the Las Vegas Invitational last year. "I hit the ball solid and gave myself plenty of chances to make birdies," he said. "I hit a lot of fairways and greens. I think I hit every green on the back 9 and missed only a couple on the front." He opened with a birdie on number 1, bogeyed the second hole out of a bunker, and made 3 and 10-foot birdie putts on numbers 3 and 4. A sand wedge to within 5 feet gave him his 4th birdie on the 8th hole. He drilled the ball to within 4 feet for the eagle on 11. The 3 straight finishing birdies came on putts of 25, 15, and 13 feet. He said he missed a few other birdie opportunities. "You always like to think you could have scored lower," he said. "But things even out. Maybe if I made the ones I missed, I wouldn't have made the ones I made. Faust wrote that Arizona State golf coach Steve Loy carried Mickelson's bag yesterday at Star Pass when Mickelson made a run at the tournament lead. He is in second place with a 7-under par 65. I had a lot of fun, Mickelson said. I was nervous at first. I bogeyed the first hole. In fact, I made a 15-foot putt to bogey the first hole. But after that, I birdied a few holes. Then I relaxed and started to enjoy the tournament. I made a couple of birdies and started having fun. He followed the opening bogey with 3 consecutive birdies and picked up 2 more on numbers 7 and 9 to make the turn in 32. The birdie on number 9 started another string of 3. The 8th birdie came on the 14th hole. He hit a 1-iron out of a bunker to within 4 feet on the par 5 506-yard hole. He said Loy doesn't help him read the course. I judge yardages and read the greens, he said. Coach knows my emotional state. He calms me down when I get high and brings me back when I get low. On Friday, January 11th, Mickelson again played with Cheeseman and Bell, teeing off on the 10th at Tucson National at 11:33 a.m. for the second round. Faust wrote all about the second round under the headline, Stadler surges into open lead by 1 stroke on Saturday's newspaper. Craig Stadler came to Tucson to get in some good practice shots for the Hawaiian Open next week. I guess that all that's changed now, he said yesterday after making birdies on the last 3 holes at TPC Star Pass to take the lead at the halfway point in the $1 million Northern Telecom Open. Using new clubs this week and playing for the first time since the Sunday after Thanksgiving, Stadler nosed ahead of a tightly packed field going into today's 3rd round at Star Pass. His 8-under par 64, coupled with a 69 Thursday at Tucson National Golf and Conference Resort, gave him a 36-hole score of 133, 11 under. There are 11 players within 3 strokes of the lead. First day co-leader Bob Tway, Brian Tennyson, Corey Pavin, and Scott Hoke share second place at 134. Tway shot 70 at Tucson National after a 64 at Star Pass on Thursday. It's a logjam, he said. It's going to be a shootout. You just have to go out there and shoot as low as you can. Tennyson, who opened with a 69 at Star Pass, had a 65 at Tucson National yesterday. Hoke shot a 66 at Star Pass following a 68 at Tucson National, and Pavin, playing at Tucson National, shot his second straight 67. Defending champion Robert Gamez is 4 strokes back at 137. Opening with a 70 at Tucson National, he came back with a 67 yesterday at Star Pass, a course he played almost daily when he was at the University of Arizona. The 36-hole cut was 2 under par 142. 75 pros and ASU's Phil Mickelson, the only amateur in the field, made it. Mickelson, the current NCAA and U.S. amateur champion, started the day in second place but followed his Star Pass 65 with a 1 under 71 at Tucson National for 136. Hal Sutton, who shared the opening day lead with Tway, was 10 under for the tournament through 9 holes yesterday, but he had bogeys on numbers 12 and 13 at Tucson National and had another at number 17. He's in the group at 136. Counting Gamez, 8 of the 13 locals who started made the cut. Ronnie Black has 138, Mike Springer 140, Willie Wood, Dan Pohl, and Don Pooley 141, and Larry Silvera and Jerry Foltz 142. Tucson National will not be used for the final 36 holes. All of the action will be at Star Pass, a course Stadler helped design. It finally played the way we expected it to, he joked yesterday. He said the 64 was his lowest round ever on the course. I putted real well today and I played well on the back 9, he said. I hit some good shots and I made a lot of 4 and 5 footers. I made everything I had. I was 5 under on the par 5s. An eagle on the 522-yard par 5 11th hole accounted for 2 of those 5 strokes. He hit a 2-iron within 4 feet. That eagle and the string of 3 birdies coming home gave him a 30 on the back 9. Recording 10 one-putt greens, he made 7 birdies in addition to the eagle. His lone bogey came on the 9th hole when he missed the green and had to hit an 8-iron out of the dirt. I almost made that one too. I was 12 feet away and the putt almost went in, he said. Stadler, who spent a month skiing in Vail, Colorado, ended his layoff from golf with 9 holes late Tuesday afternoon at Tucson National. He was scheduled to play in the Tuesday shootout at Star Pass, but his baggage was late and he didn't have his clubs. He's using a new set of irons, a new wedge, and a driver he has used only a few times. The 64 was the day's best round. Tennyson's 65 was next. Tway said that the greens at Tucson National yesterday were more difficult than the greens at Star Pass on Thursday. They were faster and they got a little bumpy, he said. I couldn't putt hard enough to get a true roll. Tway started his round with a 3-putt bogey on the 456-yard par 4 number 10. He went 10 under for the tournament with his third birdie when he 2-putted the 495-yard number 2 green, the 11th hole he played. He could do no better than par the rest of the way. Ron Summers and Faust, under the headline, "Mickelson Showing He Belongs," wrote this in the Saturday, January 12th newspaper. Arizona State junior Phil Mickelson said he didn't want to embarrass himself, not that he really had to worry about such an occurrence. Mickelson, the lone amateur in the Northern Telecom Open, began play yesterday at Tucson National at 7 under par, a stroke behind first-round leaders Hal Sutton and Bob Tway. He got off to a quick start with birdies on his first and fourth holes to go 9 under. Early on, I felt like I might have a good round again, he said, referring to the 65 he shot at Star Pass on Thursday. But he bogeyed 2 holes on his back 9 and finished with a 1 under 71 for a 2-day total of 136, 3 strokes behind second-round leader Craig Stadler. I'm glad I didn't shoot 80 and make a fool of myself, he said. I made the cut. I'm happy. And the last time he shot 80? Mickelson said he couldn't remember, but he shot a 78 in October in New Zealand and said that was just as bad. After the 2 early birdies, the leaderboard showed Mickelson at 10 under, which would have tied him for the lead at the time. But Mickelson, 20, said he knew better, that the leaderboard was wrong. For the third round on Saturday, Mickelson was going off the first tee at Star Pass at 10:33, with Hal Sutton and Rocco Mediate. In the Sunday paper, under the headline, "Mickelson Takes a 2-Stroke Lead," Tom Faust wrote, "The fact that amateur Phil Mickelson can't take the money if he wins the tournament doesn't mean that Corey Pavin, for one, would be satisfied with second place in the final round of the Northern Telecom Open today at DPC Star Pass. I don't care what his status is. I'm not out here to finish second," said Pavin yesterday, after finishing the third round tied for second 2 strokes behind Mickelson. Going 7 under par on the first 8 holes, Mickelson, a 20-year-old Arizona State junior, opened leads of as many as 3 strokes and threatened to run away from the field. After shooting a 29 on the front 9, he bogeyed 2 of the last 3 holes for a 65 and a 54-hole total of 201, 15 under. Pavin, who started the day tied for second at 10 under for the tournament, had a similar round. He was 4 under on the front 9 and twice pulled to within a stroke of Mickelson, but played the back 9 and 1 over for a 69. Pavin's 13 under 203 total tied him with David Peoples, who used a 66 to jump from a tie for 13th. Scott Hoke was by himself at 12 under, and Mark Brooks, Bob Tway, and Craig Stadler were minus 11. Tway was the first-round co-leader, and Stadler led through 36 holes. Play begins at 10:12 a.m. today on both the first and 10th tees. The leaders tee off on number 1 at noon. ESPN will televise the tournament between 3 and 5 p.m. If he wins, Mickelson, playing in his 6th professional tournament, would get the trophy, but not the $180,000 cash. He would have had to declare himself a pro before the tournament. If Mickelson wins, the $180,000 would go to the second-place finisher, but that wouldn't be enough to satisfy Pavin, who has been a contender in both Tucson and Phoenix but has never won in Arizona. I came here to win the tournament, he said. I'm out here to beat everybody. Pavin conceded that catching Mickelson, the current U.S. amateur and 2-time NCAA champion, may take some doing. I played with him once, I think here last year, and I'm impressed with his game, he said. He's going to come out here as a professional, and he'll do very well. I'm sure he can win this tournament. He has the talent and the know-how. Pavin, 31, won 11 collegiate tournaments, including the 1982 and 1983 Pacific 10 Conference Championships when he attended UCLA. He has won 7 tour victories, the last one, the Texas Open in 1988. Peoples, who turned 30 Wednesday, turned pro in 1981 and has been through 9 PGA qualifying tournaments, winning his card 6 times. He finished 57th on the money list last year and won the Isuzu Kapalua International in Hawaii in November. The Kapalua is an unofficial event, but Peoples said it was a confidence builder. As for today's final round, I'm going to go out there and mind my own business and see what happens, he said. Mickelson said he doesn't know if he can win the tournament. No amateur ever has won in Tucson since the tournament started in 1945. Frank Stranahan had some strong finishes playing as an amateur in the early years at El Rio. Tucson and Dr. Ed Updegraff tied for 4th in 1962 and 1969. Mike Springer, then a University of Arizona senior, went 16 under in the final round in 1987 and finished tied for 8th at 14 under. I won't be satisfied with a top 20 finish, but I'd rather not think about winning, Mickelson said. I've never been in this situation, and I don't have any idea of what to expect. I'm going to use it as a learning experience. He finished tied for 19th in Tucson last year. When he opened his round birdie, eagle, and birdied numbers 6, 7, and 8, people began talking about a sub-60 round and the $1 million bonus offered this year by the Hilton Hotel organization. I guess if that had happened, I would be a pro right now, said Mickelson, who earlier in the week announced his intent to stay at ASU until he gets his degree. Mickelson, a psychology major, has 3 semesters to go. After I was 7 under through 8, I thought there was a possibility of shooting 59, but you can't set a score. I didn't really think about it that much, he said. The 29 is a course record for what is normally the back 9 at Star Pass. Mark Wiebe and Ken Green shot 29 on the front 9 in the 3rd round in 1988. Wiebe went on to set a course record 61. Green shot a 38 on the back 9. It wasn't Mickelson's first 29. I've done it a few times, he said. I had 28 in a high school match and 29 in a college match, and I've done it 4 or 5 times in practice. I was pleased with the overall outcome of the round, he said. Last night I wondered what I had to do and how I was going to do it. I knew I had to hit good shots, and when I did hit some good shots early, the birdies started to come. The fast start settled me down and relaxed me rather than putting on more pressure. His eagle putt on the 502-yard par 5 number 3 was a 40-footer after a 4-iron approach, but the birdie putts were all less than 6 feet. He birdied the par 5 11th with 2 putts from 30 feet and the 17th with a 15-foot putt. He knocked it over the green for a bogey on number 16 and 3-putted from 30 feet for a bogey on 18. The back 9 I wanted to play more aggressively than I did, he said. Pavin, who birdied the first 3 holes, said he didn't hit his irons well on the back 9 and had a bad drive on the 12th hole, one of 3 bogeys he made on the back. It was like I had 2 different swings on the front and the back, he said. I guess it's first of the year jitters, I don't know. I'll work on it. People said he was driving the ball well on the practice tee, but started the round with 2 bad drives. It was a shaky start. I wasn't sure where it was going to go, he said, but I started to settle down on the 3rd hole. He made 5 consecutive birdies between the 8th and 12th holes and almost made it 6 when his putt on number 13 was headed for the heart of the cup, but stopped 2 inches short. The 65 equaled Mickelson's opening round performance at Star Pass and tied for yesterday's low round. Brooks, Duffy Waldorf, and Kenny Knox were also 7 under. Besides Peoples, Tom Pertzer and Greg Bruckner shot 66 as 20 of the 76 players broke 70. Don Pooley with a 68 and Dan Pohl with a 69 led the players' Tucson claims as its own. Pooley had a 209 total and Pohl a 210, the same as defending champion Robert Gamez, who had a 73 yesterday. At 211 with a 73 was Ronnie Black and Springer, who shot 71. Willie Wood, 71, and Larry Silvera, 70, were at 212. Jerry Foltz, 73, had a 215 total. Mickelson teed off in Sunday's final round from the first tee at noon with David Peoples and Corey Pavin. On the Monday, January 14th newspaper, Faust wrote the story of Mickelson's first PGA Tour win under the headline, ASU's Mickelson gets a crowning victory. Amateur has helmet but not $180,000 prize. Amateur Phil Mickelson used a lesson learned early in life to overcome a triple bogey and win the $1 million Northern Telecom Open yesterday at TPC Star Pass. Trailing by 3 strokes after 14 holes, Mickelson, a 20-year-old Arizona State junior, birdied 2 of the last 3 holes when the veteran pros who were trying to bury him left the casket open. My dad taught me a long time ago that when you play golf, you are going to hit some bad shots, but you have to keep playing, Mickelson said. I told myself that anything can happen in a couple of holes, and I guess it did. He almost casually rolled in an 8-foot birdie putt on the 18th green to become the first amateur in 5 years to win a PGA tournament. His rounds of 65, 71, 65, 71 added up to 272, 16 under par and a stroke better than Bob Tway and Tom Pertzer. Pertzer, who shot a 5 under par 67 on the last day, was 3 shots ahead of Mickelson and 2 in front of Tway through 17 holes. He failed to get out of a sand trap at the front of the 18th green and made double bogey in a 273 total. Tway missed the green long on 17 for bogey and failed to knock down a 16-foot putt that would have given him birdie on 18. He finished the day with a 68. Mickelson's adversaries earlier in the day were also unable to put away the U.S. amateur and 2-time NCAA champion. They eventually self-destructed. Corey Pavin and David Peoples started the final round tied for second, 2 strokes behind Mickelson. Peoples was able to tie on the 6th hole, but he bogeyed 5 of his last 7 holes for a 73 and a tie for 5th. Pavin managed to stay close until he took a hike in the desert on number 12 and came back with double bogey. He had a 74 and tied for 9th. Mickelson got the traditional Conquistador helmet. Tway and Pertzer got the cash, but $36,000 less than one of them would have gotten if Mickelson had played the way an amateur should play in a pro event. First place was worth $180,000, and under normal conditions, the 2 pros would have played off for it. Instead, they both collected $144,000. The victory was worth more than the value of the trophy to Mickelson from San Diego. It opens a number of doors in the golfing world, and it assures him of about 18 months of PGA exemptions if he decides to turn pro when he graduates from ASU in the spring of next year. This is something I've wanted for a long time, and it's great to do it with a birdie on the last hole when I needed it, said Mickelson, the first PGA Tour amateur champion since Scott Verplank won the 1985 Western Open. The best finishes by an amateur, at least in recent years, in the 46-year-old Tucson tournament were ties for 4th by Dr. Ed Updegraff in 1962 and 1969, and a tie for 8th in 1987 by Mike Springer, then a University of Arizona senior. Mickelson admitted he thought it was over when he knocked his drive left into the desert on the par 5 14th hole and then punched his second shot into a tumbleweed on the right side of the fairway. He had regained a 1-stroke lead at 17 under at the time, but had to take 2 penalty strokes. I came off of it, the drive, he said. It was a bad swing. I just lost it. The 2 club-length relief out of the tumbleweed left him on hardpan, and his 138-yard wedge shot bounced over the green into a sand trap. He blasted out 8 feet long. The putt that would have given double bogey hung on the lip. After 14, I had the worst knot in my stomach, he said. I knew I had to regroup and play hard, but I thought it was over. I went from the greatest knot in my stomach to the greatest joy in about half hour. He played it safe for a par on the 15th hole and then knocked a 1-iron and a sand wedge to within a foot for a birdie on number 16. His 5-iron shot was about 25 feet from the pin on the 203-yard par 3 17th, and he settled for par. On 18, he hit his drive down the middle to where the green winter rye and the brown dormant Bermuda grass meet. Blessed with a good lie, he knocked a 9-iron about 8 feet left of the pin. There was a break, and I saw the line crystal clear, he said. It was just a matter of rolling the ball, and it followed the line. Mickelson bogeyed number 6 to allow Peoples to tie. Peoples rolled in a birdie putt on the 9th green to go 16 under. Mickelson knocked one in on top of it. Peoples did the same on 11 to go 17 under. Mickelson repeated. Peoples started his bogey string on number 12. Pavin, who was only two shots back, made the double, and Mickelson made par to regain the lead. Playing a couple of groups behind, Pertzer and Tway were making their move. Pertzer, a Sun Devil in the early 1970s, started the day 10 under after a 66 in the 3rd round Saturday. He made 13 birdies and 2 eagles in the last 2 rounds, only to finish with a double bogey. His drive was almost in the same spot as Mickelson's on 18, and he too used a 9-iron, but his shot was short. Phil's special, Pertzer said. He's a great kid. It's nice to see a kid like Phil. He's the kind of kid you'd like to have for a brother. I'm trying to get Steve Loy, the ASU coach, to keep him in school. It will be good for our pocketbooks. Don Pooley and Dan Pohl led the 8 of 13 local players who made the cut. Pooley had 69 in the last round for 278 to tie for 14th. Pohl, playing in his first competitive complete tournament in more than a year after back surgery, also closed with a 69 for 279 and a 19th place tie. Defending champion Robert Gamez, the former University of Arizona player who was only 21 when he won the tournament last year, had a 4th round 74 for a 284 and a tie for 46th. In the wider world, while this tournament was playing out, Iraq had invaded Kuwait, and the United States and its allies were on the verge of launching the Persian Gulf War. Well, that's it, folks. Hope you all enjoyed this look back at Phil Mickelson's first ever PGA Tour win. I sure did enjoy reliving it. It had been, 34 years since I'd thought about it too much, and certainly found a lot of information about it in those old newspapers. Thanks to newspapers.com for that. Well, that's going to do it for today. Thank you all for watching and listening, and remember, be here next time, because I ain't even started yet, because I'm going to be working on my in memoriam / tribute video to a former Major League Baseball player who recently passed away. And now I have a little break in these these so-called favorites videos for about a month, close to a month. July 16th is when I'll be doing Barry Sanders, my favorite football player of all time. So in the meantime, I'll be able to finish the in memoriam / tribute video that I've been working on since April. All right, well, thanks for watching and listening, everybody, and have a good day. Bye now.